Just because I'm your only son doesn't make me a kid. Jungkook dragged his mother out of his room, who was all over his stuff, making sure he packed well for the vacation. Jungkook's mother. No, let me see what's in that box. Why are you hiding it? She asked suspiciously, raising her brows. Jungkook. Boy stuff. You're not supposed to know that. Jungkook's mother. I have a husband too. I know all of your boy stuff. Jungkook. Good. Go check your husband's stuff. Okay, good night. He kissed her cheek and closed the door instantly and locked it. Jungkook. Oh god. Saved. He exhaled, putting a hand on his chest. He walked back to his bed, grabbing the box and took a seat, a huge smile appearing on his lips as he opened it. It was a beautiful necklace with a snowflake pendant. It took him a great amount of time selecting it, even if his choice in these matters were great. He wanted it to be as perfect as it could be. His first gift to the lady he was going to propose. Jungkook, you're going to be mine soon. I'll make sure of that. Wine wiped her hands getting out of the kitchen after getting done with the dishes. Other maids have left by now to their homes. She was the only one left, as always. She never wanted to go back to that hellhole called home. Usually, the maid stayed in the Jones mansion, but since the family consisting of a husband, wife, and their only son Jungkook was going to abroad for 2 weeks, all the maids were given a vacation. Even if all she did here was work, but she preferred calling this place her home more than the place where her parents lived. They were abusive. All they cared about was money. She brought them even if it was not too much. None of them ever cared about her studies or her dreams. She went to the maid's headquarters to grab her stuff. Her feet dragged against the floor forcefully, taking her bag. Her eyes teared up as she remembered the last time she visited them 6 months ago. How her father hit her for bringing them little money, even if that was all she got, and her mother called her a disgrace and a burden. Throwing the bag away, she cried out, falling on the floor. Her back leaned against the bed as she dug her face in her hands. She remembered her father's words last time she visited them. If you don't bring me more next time, I'm going to burn you alive. For all that mattered, she knew he could do that without any hesitation. It was not a mere threat. Her body started to shake, thinking about all the worst possibilities, and she slowly stood off the floor, her nails digging in her skin, drawing out blood. Breaths uneven, and her eyes focused on the small mirror hanging by the wall. She slowly walked towards it, and with a strong punch, the mirror broke into pieces. The glass pieces digging in her skin, drawing out blood, but nothing was more painful than the thought of returning home. Wine. I can't do this. I can't do this. She repeated it over and over again, the glass piece in her hand scratching against her arm, the blood spilling down as she continued to rant the same words over and over again. She cried as she threw away the glass, letting out a scream, her arms bleeding heavily as she pulled onto her hair. Why did she have to die? For something that was not even her fault? She flinched when the door to her room opened up, her vision blurred due to tears, and it was hard for her to make out who it was. until she heard his voice. Jungkook, what did you do? He yelled out of worry, as he instantly ran to her and grabbed her hands. Wyan, let me go. Please. She tried to pull away, but his grip was strong. He was careful not to hurt her as he picked her up in her arms and took her to his room. Wyan, sir, please, put me down. Her vision finally cleared up as she made out his handsome visuals up this close to her. He looked worried as he kept her in his arms till he was in his bathroom. Putting her down on the counter, he wiped the blood and started to treat her wounds, ever so gently and carefully. Each of her injury was like a knife to his heart. He didn't say a word while he focused on his work, and she quietly stared at him. Was he really that worried? What was this feeling? She never had anyone to care about her. Why was he doing that? Her arms were now filled with bandages, sink full with bloodstains, and he watched his hands getting done. Jungkook, why did you do that? She stayed quiet, unmoving as she stared at him. Jungkook, you and I are not going anywhere until you tell me what the hell made you do this. One, stupid reason, sir. Nothing too big. Jungkook, nothing too big? Wyan, look at yourself, then look at me. Lie to yourself, but you can't lie to me. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. This wasn't about him. He had to remind himself. He gently cupped her cheeks, stepping closer to her, and brushed fingers through her hair to provide her some comfort. Jungkook, whatever it is, please tell me. Please trust me. Wyan, what were you doing in front of headquarters at this hour, sir? Jungkook, I came to see you. You are always the last one to leave. Wyan, why? Why did you came to see me? Jungkook kept sliding his fingers through her hair ever so gently, and she never once pushed him away. He was too close, enough to raise her heartbeat and drive her mad, but something about his presence provided her with so much warmth and peace. Jungkook, to give you this. He took out the box from his pocket and extended it towards her. She was confused, but she took it, opening it to find such a beautiful necklace. Why are you giving me this? Her fingers brushed against the necklace and she looked up at him confused. It took Jungkook some moments, but he leaned forward and kissed her forehead, and her breath hissed at the sudden movement. Jungkook, Wyan, I had no idea what is going on in your life, but this is more of a reason now why I'm becoming even more impatient to protect you. Wyan, you don't have to protect me, sir. Jungkook, I like you. I have liked you for quite some time now. First, I thought I was simply attracted towards you, and maybe I might get over it. But the more I thought that way, the more I fell deeper for you. Jungkook, give me a chance. Give me a chance to make you mine and show you what it feels like having someone to love and adore. Let me hold your hand. She stared in his eyes, which reflected sincerity. It had been a long time she ever trusted anyone, but it was far more honesty she saw in anyone. She looked down, and with that, his heartbeat dropped. Jungkook, you don't have to do it. You don't have to accept me or love me back now. But give me a chance to make you mine, to make you fall for me. If it doesn't sit right with you, you can step back. Was he that confident he would be able to make her fall for him, to offer such thing? Wyan, my parents never loved me. Since the day I was born, I was a target to their abuse. They beat me, threw hurtful words my way, called me names and made me leave my studies to work as a maid and earn them money. Wyan, I never had anyone to love me, sir. It has been years, and I'm slowly losing my will to survive. And you come out of nowhere and tell me you want me and will love me and protect me. Do you understand it's going to be worse than death if you also break your trust in the future? Jungkook stayed quiet for a moment. The information made him mad, but even more worried. He hated himself for not being there before when she was going through hell. He stepped between her legs, ending the distance between the two, and held her hands again. Jungkook, if that ever happens, I'm going down before you. She looked down at the necklace, holding it in her fist, and her eyes teared up. A chance it was, right when she was about to finish her life. She nodded, and Jungkook closed his eyes for a moment. He took the necklace and hooked it around her neck. You won't regret that. Wrapping his arms around her waist, he carefully moved her in his embrace, hiding her from the cruel world. And she finally let herself loose. She cried out. It gave her such a homely feeling. She cried out more and more till all the burden on her chest was lifted off. The two stayed there for as long as she wanted, for as long as she cried, and afterwards Jungkook brought her to his bed, helping her sleep in his embrace. The next day, Jungkook asked his parents to go to Maldives first, and that he will follow after them within 2 days. He got Wyan to report his parents to police, and they were taken in a custody. Now, Jungkook and Wyan were in a shopping mall. As he insisted on buying her stuff, he somehow managed to convince her to come with him to Maldives. He mostly kept his hand on her waist, avoiding her arms to not hurt the injuries, which were still healing. Jungkook, where were you all this time? He said when she came out of her dressing room wearing a white colored knee length dress, and he kissed her hand, absolutely loving the dress on her. Wyan, I can't wear this. She looked at her arms, which were visible and they reflected all of her scars. Jungkook, come here. Bringing her to the couch, he took a seat. He requested privacy from the staff. It was the money which was never a problem, and he always got his way with it. Grabbing a marker, he started to draw a few doodles here and there. Wyan, you draw so well. She smiled at the butterflies and roses he made over her scars. It was supposed to take time, but she can't believe how within 2 days he got her to believe that he meant his every word. He took care of her, showered her with love and affection, and never pushed her to love him back. Jungkook, you look cute. He chuckled and left a kiss on her skin. Wyan, says the one looking absolutely adorable doing these things for me. She kissed his cheek, and it was the first time she ever made a move. and he was going to brag about his achievement forever. Wine, don't look at me like that. She blushed, and his eyes reflected the smile and love that he kept for her.